16 nights. For 16 nights, this was the only position I could be in. For years, I had a light back pain, and I ignored it. And then it got worse, and I still didn't have time to deal with it. I was too busy with other stuff. And then it got even worse. It went down my leg like a toxic poison. And I was really suffering, so I started looking for help. I went to doctors, I talked to my family what to do about this, and they offered one thing, painkillers. I tried ibuprofen, I tried paracetamol, many different ones. And it helped, but only for some time. Then I started feeling even worse. I started feeling chemical odor coming out of my body. My body was covered with eczema, which looks really bad. Day by day, I was getting worse. I called an ambulance one night, and because I was able to stand, I was not able to lie down or sit at all. They thought I'm, quite fine. So they said, okay, triple dose of ibuprofen, have it, drink it. So I did. And then my pain got really excruciating. I couldn't hold myself anymore. I was suffering whole nights. I started losing I felt like I was just bones and no muscles because it lasted for several months. And I was getting worse and worse and more hopeless that anything could help me. I noticed on some nights I started taking pills with no control. I was just swallowing them and I tried to stop myself, but I couldn't. They kind of pulled me in. So I had some more and then I felt worse. And then it got even worse to the point that I wasn't sure I will survive the night. I wasn't sure what was going to happen next. And that night, I started talking to pain, as if it was another human, a god, or a devil. I started asking him questions. I started talking to him, asking, why are you here? What's your point? Why are you with me? Stop it. I started pleading, negotiating. I just wanted to do something. And then I found that this was really interesting. I got really interested in this process because there was something else. So I started taking some notes and I wrote about pain. I wrote all our dialogue, all our conversations that filled this whole book. Once I started writing, I realized I'm feeling better. Somehow, the process of writing helped me to turn my energy somewhere else. I got more energy, I started being happy, I started even having some bouts of joy, and I was like, oh, this is interesting, I'm getting better. So I started writing a little bit more, and I got better and better day by day. My energy rose. I started looking for some proper remedies. I was able to go to some doctors and get some help. And then also I had more energy, so I could start exercising, some special exercises for the back. And then I got better and better until after 6 months of not working, I could recover. And I was basically back to fine. So what did I learn from that adventure of pain? I learned 2 things. First is when pain comes, especially the heavy pain, it will ask you some tough questions. And in a way, you have to answer these questions in order to progress anywhere. And these questions are about your identity. Before my pain, I had, I can say, 3 main identities. One was, I was an alpinist. I was a climber, strong man, like, if I'm strong, I'm fine, I'm well. The other identity was a businessman. I'm smart, I can make money, I can help my family, I'm good here. So I felt good in this identity. And there was third identity, which was creative identity. I used to write for a long time when I was a child. And as I started working more and more, and I was on this side of the businessman, I started working 12 hours a day, 11 hours a day, 14 hours a day, and many days 17 hours a day. This one started dominating those two. I stopped writing because there was no time. I didn't do much sport, so I got weaker and weaker. And of course, my back got weaker and weaker. And after that many hours of sitting in front of the computer and being stressed, because that's how it works with business, when the entrepreneur took over completely, I guess my soul started suffering. And I guess my pain was the sign that my soul said, your life is run in a wrong way, you have to change. I ignored it. Then the pain got stronger. I ignored it even more. So the pain got even more stronger. So finally, I had to answer the questions which were important. So pain is very much about your identity. And when the pain is so strong that you lose your identity, because the businessman couldn't work for 4 months, the sportsman was dead, then the space appears. You feel like you are nobody, nothing. You cannot do nothing. You are completely incapacitated. And who are you then? Fortunately, when you hit the bottom, something else appears, and that was my creative side. That was my writer. And my writer actually pulled me out of this by giving me energy and hope that I'm useful in some way. The second lesson is here. It's about triangle of pain. So you have 3 choices when pain comes. And it comes to everyone. In case of back pain, 80% of people are going to suffer severe back pain in their lifetime. And what about other pains, emotional pains, all sorts of other pains? All of us are going to face them, and many times it will be strong. So we can ignore pain. We can say, oh, this is nothing important. And some ignorance of pain is healthy to a degree. Once it gets stronger, ignoring pain doesn't seem to be wise. At least it wasn't wise for me, because it got so worse. And it's like saying, it's not me. Pain, it's not me. I'm too strong to have any pain, you know? My identity doesn't allow pain. I'm a strong businessman. I cannot have pain. Yet, it kind of works from the inside, slowly, slowly, taking you onto this adventure. So once you stop ignoring it, once it enters your consciousness that you actually have some pain, physical or emotional, you start struggling. It means you are trying everything, you're panicking, you are stressed, but you are not operating from a clear mind and clear attitude of what to do about pain. So there is another choice. Is to face your pain. Admit that it's me. I'm in pain right now. I'm actually suffering pain, and this pain is big enough for me to take care of it. So what we have to do is, I say 4 things. First of all, you accept it's a reality. Second of all, you start listening to what it says. What questions does it ask? Third one, it's good to express it somehow. In my case, I was alone, so writing was the way of expressing, and this was really helpful because each time I was finding something new about myself in that pain. It's really fascinating. Or you can use other people. You can talk to some other people, and there are some professional trained people to do that when you have pain. You have family, you have friends, and understand that many people may not understand what you are going through, because they don't see it, and especially they don't feel it. Pain is often invisible, so you cannot actually that easily experience the pain of another person. And then once you express the pain, you kind of ventilate it, and it's much easier to do anything else, to actually act, to change your situation. So these are the two things I learned about the pain. And those lessons, those learnings really are connected to what I call self-leadership. I'm saying learning about pain, facing pain, is a leadership lesson. Why is it? Pain asks us these difficult questions. So pain will ask you what really matters, what is really important for you, who are you? And only when you know this, actually you can lead yourself towards that. Only when you know what matters to you really, who you are, then you could lead yourself there. Or it happens to you sometimes, really fortunately, like it happened to me, because I started to write, and I really dreamed all my life about writing more. And when I was a businessman, I was always complaining that I'm not writing. And the pain comes and helps you. So self-leadership is really helpful in situations of pain. And in a way, pain is an opportunity to listen to yourself and to lead yourself out of pain. The same situation happens with teams. I'm a coach, and I work with executives and teams in organizations. And in organizations, as you might know, there is lots of pain usually. There is lots of hidden pain because people hide it, and there is lots of leaders who ignore pain because there are other more important things to do. So for example, people talk behind each other's backs. People ignore each other. People are irritated and angry about each other. It's all because of pain. People complain. People victimize each other. People are defensive because there is some pain in the organization. So we have two steps in working with the teams. First of all, it's called ventilation. We help people express the pain. And sometimes it takes 1 hour in a training. Sometimes it takes 2 days. Sometimes it takes more. But as long as people did not express their feelings, they will not go further towards solutions. So this is a kind of delicate work. You have to help them see how have they been ignoring the pain so far, how are they struggling, and once they see that, they are able to say, okay, this is our pain, we can face it. And the second step is to find a new identity, because usually when you are in pain, you get this skewed identity, which is kind of painful. Let's say in some organizations, the identities they come up with is runaway train. We are stressed, we don't know what's going to happen next, we don't know who leads us, the communication is poor, we are going to have an accident. And by realizing who they are right now, you could change that into who they want to be, who the team wants to be. So with these two steps, listening to the pain and identity check, things change really quickly. It's like magic. Sometimes they start really working in a different way. So it's good for a leader to really listen to this pain and to help understand that people are not just motors. Our human design is that we are mostly run by feelings. So our motors are feelings. And if you don't work with our own motors, our feelings, you cannot get very far. People will start doing things against you and you don't even know about this. They will be like zombies, hiding and just doing their own thing because they are not fascinated about what you want to tell them because they have pain about organization, about you, or about each other. And as long as you don't solve it, you are not going to go far. And people will trust you if you are the one who can see the pain in the team, and if you are the one who can confront it, and if you are the one who can say, okay, let's see it, let's listen to it, and let's change it. Another example is community leadership. I believe pain is an opportunity for community leadership too. Who was here in 1997 during the famous Wrocław flood? Do you remember your reactions? What were you feeling those days? Thank you, thank you. We don't have that much time, so I will go forward. So I was there, I was here. I just came from Canada to visit, and suddenly I'm in this flood, and I'm like, wow, what's going on? But first, it was like, okay, flood is in Czech Republic. Oh, those poor Czechs, they have so much problems. We ignored it. We thought it's not our problem. And then the flood started coming and started flooding some villages, and this panic started. Whoa, something, we don't know what to do next. People, photographing stuff and just not being able to deal with it effectively. And then in the third stage, actually, what happened, thousands of volunteers and thousands of volunteer leaders emerged, and we started a really organized work. We started carrying the bags, putting them in the right places, having great conversations with neighbors I have never seen in my life. This whole thing started becoming really meaningful, and I started feeling like we are in some sort of a historic moment, and we are so elevated with this feeling, and we were saying, this is our city, we are going to defend this city, we love this city, Wrocław. And then what happened, we succeeded in defending ourselves, especially the more important parts of the town. And because of that, after 11 years in Canada, I decided, because of that feeling, I decided to stay in Poland. And I'm here right now to tell you this. So, what else I want to tell you about this? Poland. In Poland, and in many other places in the world too, we are afraid to talk about pain. We either neglect it, or I would say there is a social stigma against being whiny, against exposing ourselves. So what happens, we shut off and close and hide, and psychologically what happens is we repress feelings. We repress feelings, and then our health becomes worse and worse, and then we have so many sick people, and we have so many unhappy people, and there are too many of them. So what I want to invite you to, you and everyone else, is to open up our hearts and just express what we are feeling. This way, I believe we can change our culture, because this culture has been for too long the culture of pain, the culture of struggle, the culture of unnecessary sacrifice. If we wake up and just express our pain, and if we are open to others expressing the pain, it's not easy. There is a lot of crying involved. There is a lot of emotional trauma sometimes, feelings going back and forth. But if you don't do this, it gets worse. The pain will always get worse. If you don't protect yourself, if you don't act on it, you will pay for it even more. So don't be afraid of pain. Accept its reality. Listen to it. In your deepest pain, there is a faint light. Watch for it. Make it brighter than your fear. Make it bigger than your pain. Follow it. Follow the master in your heart, God hidden in your suffering. Follow your light, witness its shadows. Dive deep into your sorrow. Pause into your essence. Follow, listen, and feel until you see, until you are. Thank you, my pain, and thank you for listening.